Alrighty, welcome everyone. I hope you are cozy, comfy, well rested. I am not. I was rudely awakened this morning by my alarm at the wrong part of a sleep cycle, and so I woke up feeling extremely groggy and tired. But I got up and recorded or streamed anyway. Played some Slay the Spire on stream, and then went down immediately for a 20-minute non-sleep deep rest protocol, which is the equivalent to like a waking meditative nap. Lets you regain a little bit of the sleep that you've lost, which is quite helpful. And then, having written out my plan for the day, stream and checking off stream and sleep, I saw that the only thing remaining to do was record, and motherfucking record. And so here we are. And so record we shall. And what we are recording is this. Bocchi the Rock, Episode 1. I'm introducing one new slot into my shows list. We'll see if it upsets the apple cart and destroys everything. In the future, I'm going to try to get these out on Sundays. We'll see how that goes. It's Tuesday now, and I'm behind on Cyberpunk, and now I'll probably end up being behind on JoJo's unless I catch a major second win and feel like recording more today. I'm going to be behind on that too, but that's the way of things. This past weekend was Christmas and holiday times, and I didn't get a lot done, but I got a lot of love and got a lot of good experiences and lived a lot this past weekend, so I'll call that a win anyway. We're going to watch Bocchi the Rock. I put up a poll on the Patreon, and if you'd like to vote in future polls on the Patreon, you can do so by going to the Patreon. It's linked in the description. And I'm going to figure out a way to integrate those polls with both the Twitch Primes or Twitch subs and the YouTube memberships as well, so that everybody gets the chance to vote in the polls if they are supporting the channel, because that's what I want to be happening. I put up a poll for cute shows, and against Kaguya-sama Season 3, to much people commenting about how much they really wish that Kaguya would win, and how is it possible that Bocchi would win, and is it just recency bias that's making Bocchi win? Well, I don't know if it's just recency bias. I have a feeling that it's because Bocchi seems to be a very good show, and we'll see. We'll just have to watch the episode and find out. But Bocchi killed it in the poll, stayed about 50 votes ahead, and stayed that way throughout the entire run of the darn thing. And so here we are to watch what you guys voted for as the first reintroduction of cute shows on the channel in a while. You know, I feel like I built this city on cuteness. I built this channel on fucking K-On! And Lucky Star and cute things, and that is true. And I fucking love them, and I'm missing them, because there's been a lot of serious stuff on the channel for a little while, and that shapes me and makes me more serious, and less fun things are fun-y. And so I'm glad to be back in a cuteness mindset. I'm exhausted today. Again, I woke up at the wrong part of a sleep cycle. I went down for the little nap, and that has rejuvenated me immensely, and I'm going to do something really quick that I highly recommend you try because it works. I'm feeling really good right now. I am very awake. There is nothing I would rather do than stand here and record. I am not sleepy. I'm feeling really good right now. And it works, and I feel that way. So silly. The brain is so silly. You can just trick yourself. It's like the people doing positive affirmations. I don't know if I vibe with that really, but man, doing something hard and just saying, I'm feeling really good right now, it works. It works. I stole that from Lex Friedman. Yeah, weird that it works that way. We're strange creatures. Bocchi the Rock. I know it's about music. I know it's about high school girls. I know the main girl has pink hair, and that's all that I know. I've been able to limit myself. I've heard some people say that it's kind of like K-On! In many ways, so I expect girls and bands, and that's exceptionally fun to me because I like K-On! A lot. Now, When you say something is like K-On!, there are a couple things that you can mean. You can mean it's a cute show about cute characters. You can mean it's a cute show about music. It's a show about music in general. It's a high school show. It's about characters doing very little and having much fun talking and doing very little. Or you could mean it's an exceptional masterpiece on the level of Naoki Yamada's directing ability that has incredibly intricate and deep characterization all the way throughout. I don't know which of those things people mean when they say that Bocchi the Rock reminds them of K-On! I don't know which one at all. All I know is that this is a highly rated recent show about cute girls making a band or something. And I'm excited to get into it. I'm going to go through a protocol for going into this show. The first thing that I'm going to do is pull this up so that you can see exactly what I've seen. I can't help but have read this. The first line, literally the first line of the synopsis. Yearning to make friends and perform live with the band. Lonely and socially anxious Hitori Bocchi. So, alone. Cool. I don't want to read the rest of the synopsis. What I am going to do is I'm going to click on my anime list. I've been here before, but I haven't really read it. And I want to look at all of the art. What I know, cute girls doing cute things, is oh, it's a theme now. That's interesting. So there are genres and themes. I don't remember ever seeing themes on Mal before. That seems like a new thing to me. Very cool. That makes me very pleased. It is sourced from a 4-koma manga, very much like K-On! Is. How much of it is adapted from the 4-koma manga versus altered from the 4-koma manga? Unknown to me. Cloverworks is a branch off of A1 Pictures. They've done some things that I've liked. They've done some things that I haven't liked that much. But they've been kind of knocking it out of the park in terms of mass appeal, at least, with things like Neverland, Bunny Girl, Spy X Family, and even Wonder Girl Priority. As well as I enjoyed the first episode of Fugo Keiji. People are dying for Bunny Girl, for Spy X Family. And the studio seems to be taking off, which is very good. Very, very good. I don't know how to feel about it. I'll feel about it. I'll try to keep my opinions limited to the specifics of the show, instead of assuming that a show will be just like other things in the lineup that came out of the studio previously. The most recent thing that I saw out of Cloverworks was Wonder Egg Priority, which I thought the production of was excellent, and I only thought flew the cuckoo's nest near the end as they struggled, it seemed, to wrap an original animation after running into production difficulties, something which simply makes sense and is part and parcel to the nature of the industry that we love, this anime thing. I'm going to look at some of the posters. So I'm going to pop open this one, as far as I can tell, is the main poster. You got cute girls, neon colors, this angled side lighting. I actually really don't like the composition of this poster. I can't tell you why. It does have a specific feeling, though. It has the feeling as though this were an actual printout that were going to be posted, like post on the walls of a dark, not nightclub, but a dark place where live music might be happening on a small stage that's like flat with a barely elevated stage where the players might play. It feels like the kind of poster that gets put over layers and layers of other people's posters in a band location, a location where bands play all the time and different live music people are showing up and making their way through different venues. And that feels pretty cool. We've got our 4 characters. I think we see this is Bocchi, Hitori Bocchi, I would assume. She's got pink hair. She's main girl, long hair character, girl, solid. Maybe playing a bass, maybe playing a guitar. It's unclear to me at the moment. It looks like the girl in the far back is playing the bass. We've got a lead guitarist up front, I assume. She seems like she's the more fiery one, which would be helped out by the indication that she has red hair. I also wouldn't be surprised if she's a ditz, if she's clumsy or a dojiko. She's got this little side tail that makes her like a side ahoge a little bit, nowhere near Miss Yellow, who's our goofball drummer, but has this little side tail that makes her seem a little goofy. And then in cool blue with the short haircut and the little lane bands across her little strip of hair on the right, we have our cool Yamato Nadeshiko, cool girl character, I assume. These are all guesses, by the way. I haven't seen any of these characters in action. I'm just trying to glean what I can from the imagery and the artwork. And then huge, big open eyes, big smile, enormous side tail, goofy, cocky, off-kilter, nut job of yellow seems to be what we're going for. And of course, shade over the eyes, bangs over the eyes, limiters, blinders. We have our main character with these attempts at the outside, but they're off to the side, and a little silly ahoge that makes her silly, poking out her one side. But these attempts at demonstrating herself and showing who she is, but then the over jacket fully zipped up, very restrained, and of course the bangs over the eyes indicates that this character doesn't actually want to be talked to, unlike our standoffish blue, or our very open hands behind back yellow, or our kind of odd and cocked head but interested and smiling red. Miss Pink is terrified. And some cuteness, some classic yukata nonsense. It feels like the character being dragged into the space of collectivism. I've been reading too much social philosophy. Dragged into the space of communism. Dun, dun. Sorry. dragged into the space of being social and having this set of experiences and meeting a friend group and becoming more than she is. Classic mask, same little artifacts on the outside, different little yukata, and the expressions of the characters lead me to believe that my initial impressions of them aren't obviously wrong. They may not be right, but they don't seem obviously wrong. And then we get individual posters for each character. Excitable Dojiko, red in a lot of maho shoujo and colored character sorts of things, is very fiery, very literally, out there and gregarious. Quiet, calm, cool. Very, very much, I mean, honestly, blue and yellow puts us in the same perspective as the main character as from Wonder Egg Priority. You can kind of one-to-one those two characters in a lot of ways in terms of design. That doesn't mean that they'll be the same in terms of their actions, but you can learn a lot about a character from their design. This flies in the face of my expectations, this character. Out by the sea, a little bit calmer than I would normally expect, but then is on the drums and makes me wonder who this person is. And then, of course, alone, curled up, thinking too much, you might say, too cerebral, not enough embodiment, is our main character in pink. And then, of course, okay, so she is guitar, and then the other girl, the blue girl, must be bass. I can't read any of the Japanese, and that's good, probably. I really like the way that the highlights in the hair sort of blend into the background and generate this feel like the character is flowing in with the text on the page to me. It's pretty cute. It's a little over colorful for my eye, but that's a cover sort of thing, and we'll see if that ends up being the case in the actual show. I kind of doubt it. I'm kind of expecting to really like it. Not to build it up too much in my head, but I'm expecting to really like this show. Currently sitting at a 9.0 on my anime list. Bocchi the Rock is a smash hit this season, or this past season. And I'm excited. It just started raining a few minutes ago, so I can't think of anything that I would rather do. Hold on, let me turn this off so you can even see. I can't think of anything that I would rather do than brew some nice tea with some coffee in it and also some cinnamon and some spices and I made a weird thing. We'll see, it might be disgusting. Brew some tea, stand here. By the way, I'm standing, not sitting, because I have a standing desk and I should be using one. And watch this show with all of you. So, let me put some hot water in my tea and we'll get on the way. Okay, so that'll take just a couple of minutes to brew up. In the meantime, we've done the poster, we've done all the info that I wanted. We're going to watch it in a moment. Before we do, I need to shill the Patreon, channel membership, and Twitch. This content is free. If you'd like to support it anyway, you can do so via these... Oh, I didn't turn the notes back on. Dang it. I'm bad at this. I'm bad at my job. If you want to support the channel anyway, despite the fact that the content is totally free and also ad-free, you can do so via the Patreon, the channel membership, or the Twitch. A small donation or subscription, however you want to view it, via those gets you access to the Discord channel where you can yell about shows that you love, as well as access to voting in future polls on the future of the channel and what we watch next, whenever a slot runs out or whenever I decide to add one just for fun. There will be more polls forthcoming as we end out some of the other shows that are running, and, well, they should be pretty interesting. We'll see what shifts as we move forward in the channel. Thank you immensely to my incredible, supportive, loving, caring patrons who've stuck with me through some weird decisions on my end, and to those of you who have stuck with it despite wondering whether I've lost the plot. I hope I haven't. I'm just pursuing what feels right. And what feels right is sharing the content for free instead of withholding it behind an early access paywall. Because I think what matters is sharing the experience of watching interesting, deep, dark, scary, funny, cute, silly, thoughtful, thought-provoking, psychological, thrilling. Watching all of these varieties of shows and experiencing all of the wide variety of emotions and thoughts that can be provoked by this fantastic medium of animation. I think the most important thing that I can do is to share that with you, to point at the cool works of art that people around the world contribute to making, and say, this right here is a reason why being is worthwhile, a reason why being is good, a reason why humans matter. We live in a strange world, and it's about to get a lot stranger. Our technologies are outpacing our minds, our abilities to survive in a technologically advanced, hyper-connected world. And it seems as we gain more ability to connect with other people, we lose the actuality of connection. What I've discovered is that I can re-actualize that connection somehow by talking at a camera and watching pieces of media with you. And there are a bunch of theories about why that works, but I don't know. All I know is that it works and that it needs to keep working, because it's been really important to me, and it's been really important to a lot of people who have commented and said so on my channel. So I'm going to do it for free, and I'm going to do it for free until I die. And I'm going to hope that I produce enough value for enough people that it comes back to me, and I don't have to die in the process. So thank you immensely to all my Patreons and other supporters who have stuck with it. And thank you to you if you're even considering it. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in those ways, go ahead and drop a comment on the video. It can be anything. It'll help the algorithm. I'd really like if you would try to say something interesting in the comment. And what I will promise is this: every episode from this one onward, I'll go through the comments on the last episode and pick a couple, read them out, and talk about what I think about them at the beginning of the next episode, and use that as, in part, a jumping off point to move into the next episode and remember what happened the last time and talk about the way that people felt about it. And that way we can share what parts of each of these episodes of anime really resonate with us, or stand out to us, or stand out to each of you, and share more in the collective experience of observing, experiencing, watching, feeling, and coming to understand the characters and the artists behind them of this piece of media. If that sounds like fun, drop a comment and maybe I'll read it. Likes and subscribes to the channel are also stellar. We sort of had a dip in channel subscribers over month that has very quickly remedied itself, and we're now back up to climbing in channel subscribers, and that's where I want to be. I'd like to hit 50,000 easy by the end of 2023, and with a stretch goal of 100,000 by the end of 2023, and I think that's easily achievable. And people are gonna be like, what are you talking about easily achievable? You've done 30,000 in 4 years. Yeah, I know. I know. Let's hit 100,000 by the end of 2023. Let's do something silly. Let's aim for the stars. And we'll see how it goes. I'll also say I am streaming every day at 10 a.m. Not really, but 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on twitch.tv/Teeaboo YouTube. That's my Twitch, and I'm streaming there every dang day. I streamed there today. We played some Slay the Spire. I'm going to soon begin playing Disco Elysium because it has been recommended to me a billion times by a billion people, and so I'm going to start playing it. If that sounds like fun to you, drop by the stream, say hi, drop a Prime subscription. Any primers? Sorry, I hate that shit, and I do not want to become it. Be careful wrestling with monsters lest you become a monster. Ugh, scary stuff. But Twitch has been fun, streaming has been fun, and I'm going to keep doing it every dang day for the rest of my existence, or until I decide to stop. And the channel memberships on the YouTube, which are over there. There's a join button and also a thanks button, so you can use the super chats and the super thanks now, which is very cool, as well as actually subscribe to the YouTube channel. Of all of those options, I would prefer that you use the Patreon because I get 95% of every dollar that you send. I get 70% of every channel membership dollar, and I have no idea how much I get out of every Twitch sub. So, just leave that out there. All of the shilling done. Let's turn to a blank page for notes. Get a pen of some variety, ready to roll, and get ready to watch Bocchi the Rock. So, I have episode 1 of Bocchi the Rock downloaded and ready to go. It's up on my screen. I've got the subs please version because that seems to be the best version. The only other version was 265 encoded, and I didn't see a reason to choose that more highly encoded or highly compressed version over the subs please. If there is a better version with better subtitles that I must watch, and you need to tell me that in the comments soon so that I can change it before episode 2. For now, we're going to watch it the way that Crunchyroll intended and watch it with the subs please version. As with most of my videos, there will be 2 versions of this reaction video. You can find a picture-in-picture version with the video up there in the corner, linked down there in the description. There will also be a timer-based version up on the YouTubes. If you'd like to sync up your copy with the timer-based version, get your copy of the episode ready to go, and wait for the boop, 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 beep, and on the beep and the green light will be the exact frame that I start playing, so you should hit your space bar or your play button or whatever on that frame, and hopefully that syncs us up acceptably with the video that I'm watching, and we can experience the whole thing together. Cool? Cool. Nothing to it but to do it. Let's get into Bocchi the Rock episode 1. Beep beep timer. Would it be? Oh, obviously you're being invited, right? Hitori Bocchi. Whoa, Hitori Bocchi no ko. Every time. Okay, a simple, flat style. Big part of the Going Home Club. Yeah, best friends on Snapchat with your parents. We've already got the strings in the back. I should really change the way that I am. Yeah, walls. Yep. Tick, tick. Oh, Hey. Hey, wait, that's me. Hey? Huh? A magical place where even I could shine? Full center. Oh, two choices. Two choices in the background. Wah! Yeah, there you go. A full stand up. Oh, it's gonna be twangy and shit, dude. Hey? Oh, no, not really, Dad. Just wants to find a path. So far, the overall composition has been excellent. Again, excellent composition. Not compositing, composition. Framing. That looks really good. That instrument looks really good. I wonder if they 3D model and rotoscoped it. Blushed. Oh my gosh. No clue, of course. Yep, that's about right. How does this even? Hmm. Hmm. Clang, clang. It's actually the same scene as Yui clanging away. Oh, 3 years later and it hasn't happened, huh? Oh, but she's learned to play. Oh, oh my god, that's got tears welling up in my eyes. Oh my god, what? But it hasn't worked. She hasn't become less of an introvert. Yeah. Oh, we get the OP in first episode? Amazing. I might need to buy a guitar. So that's bass. Other guitar. So she's gonna be lead. The parents just watching. The large growing in the Gojira. Very cute. Wow, I really like those edge lighting. Yeah, I like those. I really like those. Is that an enemy? Something like that. That was very cool looking. Those are 3D rendered. Yep. 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 Cool. Came here running into the light. They're not enemies, they're friends. I'm not paying any attention to the lyrics, just visuals. Okay, Red is singing. Good. She's got the I forget what they're called. The two types of Tsurime and Tarime. She's got the Tarimeest eyes. Oh. Oh. Nope. So now you're in last year. Oh. And the call and response chant is like everybody reinforces it. Let's go. Really smooth, and I like that they're fading out the line. Voice actress can sing too. Uh-huh. Great posters too. Oh. Good. Wow. You're so good. But it's all parasocial. Oh no. Yeah, it's totally okay. A bastion of comfort. True. I formed a band and I played that. You're fulfilling my dreams? Huh? Yeah, you put in the effort, huh? Hanash kakete! Somebody please reach out to me! Satsugai seyo! Anything but the flashbacks. Anything but the truth. If wishes were horses. I played it with my band club too. Lucky, I'm not sure if there's anyone at my high school that plays guitar. Hey. What's the idea, Bocchi? Oh, that's really good. Spices and a little bit of coffee in my tea. Oh, she's just gonna take the guitar to demonstrate a real somebody. Hard ignored. Yeah, 0. Absolute 0. Nada nada. Crushed in the corner. Nobody cares. That's some truth right there. That's some serious business truth right there. I guess I'll just say, yep, just leave and, okay. Wow, that was just the Hibiki Euphonium characters going by. Bye! See ya, Kubiko. See ya, Reina. Oh, the little Aho guy. Bloop. Perfect. We're gonna hear music. Really the same feeling as K-On! With the locations. Kiza-chan! Oof. Mm-hmm. Oof. Absolutely wrecked. Has a full family. No! I like that. Presumptuous empathizing. Hey, me too. Yeah, it does. Oh, yellow? Yep, it's yellow. There we go. Thought so. Out of her gourd. Oh. Oh. Oh no. Oh, but she doesn't care. She doesn't read cues, so it's perfect. Ah, you found an idiot. You found an idiot. Oh, you gonna ask for a band? Ask. That's okay. Shut up. Huh? Bando? The whole thing that I wanted to do. Say yes. Say yes. She's gonna say no. She wants to say no. But you have to say yes. Yep, there we go. All right. You don't have to say yes. She's just gonna drag you. Let's go. Yeah. You're very good. Eyes go away. As soon as she's being looked at, eyes go away. On your own, you don't. Overthink. Probably a trap. Now you're being weird. Always. Starry. That's really good looking. It might be CGified. That's weird. Oh, the tracksuit. Because nobody picks you. Soka. Oh, last one standing, which means yes, you are athletic. Sorry, the other way. Okay, go for it. Oh, so we descend into the underworld. Yes, the Darklands, indeed. This is exactly the kind of place. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, it's exactly what you were looking for, huh? They're just... There's people. I really like the black-haired character. Hey. Apologizing to everybody. Yeah, 大丈夫. We do have that snappy dialogue thing. It's Kayani or Lucky Starry. What? Just a little delay. Mmm. I have this weird feeling like I have to do this. Let's go. Of course, she's gonna nail it. So, because we don't have the redhead yet. And I think the redhead is in popular circles or social or maybe Gyaru-esque. Supposedly good. Gorilla. Very good. Very good. You're gonna fuck it up. Stop thinking about that shit. Focus on the song, you dingus. Skip 2, huh? Ha! You have no idea how to play with a band. You have no idea how to play with others. Yeah. You can be a great dancer on your own, but if you can't dance with somebody else, what are you doing? Perfect. Domo. Doom, 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 doom. And the show is over. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, that was so good, so meta. Just do it. You just do it. You just do it. I'm great. I love her. They're very distinct individually. Oh. Oh my god. Pomu. Pomu. Mm. Mm. Yes, you can. Roku dakara. Oh. True? Who cares? It's not going on the internet. Do you? Uh-huh. Not normal. Well, yeah, you can. Been waiting for it for 3 years, dude. So we get into the real stuff. Yep, here we go. Cool. Ah, Sugol. Yeah, you don't know. No, you're self-motivated. Most people aren't, dude. Hey? Are we gonna secret identity this, or are they gonna find out? Oh. Oh, wow, the bell and everything. God damn it, tell them. So we are gonna secret identity it. She doesn't even know. Well, of course they're real life people. Everybody on the internet is a real life person. Separation. Wow. Yep. Mm. Don't fuck this up. Ah, we're losing her. We're losing her. No! Somebody give her a bonk with the bass. Yep. I'm just the box. Ouch. Hitori Bocchi. Bocchi. Bocchi the Rock. She doesn't care. Oh, it works. It works. Yep. She likes it. Weird. Oh, yeah. I wonder if we could identify all the posters. Ah, I was wondering. Hi. Is she actually gonna play from inside a box? Will the guitar fit? Thick lines. Many snaps for that. Have fun even if you suck. Oh, she's great. I can't wait to find out what horrible things are happening in Yellow's life. I can't wait to find out what has brewed her resilience. Oof. She's gonna fall out of the box or something. Whoa, that's just Dagashia from Non Non. What the fuck? Why is Dagashia here? Whoa! Oh! We're rocking! No, Bocchi, you're on a stage playing! Boom! That was so many words. No, no, no fleeing. Nope, we're fleeing. Okay, bye, bye. You got too much energy, nobody can keep up. None. 1 minute 55, so we've got a stinger and then ED and then we're out, man. I'm gonna. For something outside of myself. All right, the band actually does have a... Yeah, but action is a little bit harder than ideation, isn't it? Man, there's some good stuff to talk about in this. Very cute. I like those with the screen tones as well around the edges to create the sort of gradient filler. That's really nice. I really like the style of the show. I think it's really cute. I didn't expect to like the direction as much as I do. The character is mostly what I expected. The other characters are mostly what I expected, but their dynamic is much better than I could have asked for. It's very cute. Very cute. What a lovely first episode. Absolutely stunningly cute. Gloriously enjoyable. And relatable to anybody who's ever had any form of social anxiety at all whatsoever. You look at Hitori, sorry, I shouldn't be insulting to her when I name her, but true. And she's you, or at least an aspect of you. So let's dive in. Let's talk about this. There are a few things that I want to highlight specifically. Give me a second to think them through and write them down. I'm also going to take off my my sweater, and I think I'm wearing really heavy sweatpants. I'm going to change to lighter pants as well. So, back in a sec. Okay, I've dropped down a bit of a word cloud of various things, from color, characterization split into visual, and the voice actors, the composition frame by frame, music in the background as well as in the foreground or the forefront of the show. K-On! Comparisons, we're not going to be able to escape them. I don't like doing a lot of comparative analysis, but we're not going to be able to escape the K-On! Comparisons. It's too close, and it's too dramatically obvious that the people making this show, and probably the author of the 4-Koma, have read and watched K-On! There's just no way that they haven't, and that's totally fine. Loneliness. And we're going to talk about loneliness a little bit. And we're going to talk about how social media to some extent can contribute to that, because I think this piece of media demonstrates it rather effectively. As well as talking about self-representations, how they might differ from the way that other people see you, and interactions, and the difficulties of taking a skill that you've acquired solo and applying it elsewhere. As well as overall things about the flow of the episode. Before we go ahead and dive into it, the thing that I realized as we got into this episode is that I might need to go and purchase a guitar. I don't have the money to purchase a guitar, and I'm not going to purchase a shitty guitar if I purchase a guitar. But here's the deal. I grew up with guitar in my life. My dad's a guitarist, has been playing for 50 years. And tried and to some extent succeeded to get me into it, but he's an intuitive learner and learned intuitively and tried to teach me in the way that someone who's a master tries to teach a student, which is frustratedly and not very well. And so I never learned guitar. I learned piano. Can still sit down on a piano and play various things. Not very good, but a little bit. A little bit of music theory, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But guitar I always stood off from because it was my father's realm of expertise in a lot of ways, and it felt like an intrusion to do that. Despite his desire for me to become a guitarist, he didn't express that very well, and so I found myself pushed away from it, and pushed away by the classic thing that every child, every young man at least, I think, goes through, which is the desire to not be like your father. And so I've let guitar go, and that ain't right. I want an Ibanez. It's the guitar that I started with, and it's the guitar that I have the most attachment to. There's a ruby red Ibanez, and I know exactly what color it is. Let me go to Z-Sounds, because this is where I usually purchase musical stuff or audio equipment. I'm going to pull this up on screen as well. I'm just going to look at electric guitars, and I'm going to look, because I hope that they sell Ibanez. They do. They have 169 Ibanez guitars. And if I go through those, and if I sort those price low to high, what do I get? $180 for an AX120. The Geo Micro, 3/4 sized. I don't want a 3/4 sized. It needs to be a full sized. The GRX20Z is the cheapest base Ibanez for $180. Does it come in the red color? Comes in black or jewel blue. I would get it in blue if I had to, but I'd like it in red, in jewel red. That's pretty much the guitar that I want. Okay, fair enough. I will keep an eye out for other options. If I have to do this via a payment plan, then I will. But I'm going to get a guitar in my life. I'm going to get a guitar in my life. I'm missing it. It's something that I'm missing is musical expression. And a guitar is a great way to do it. So thank you to Bocchi the Rock for letting me know something that I knew and was avoiding. That's a place to start. So now let's actually start. We get our basic introduction to the character of Hitori Bocchi, and she is great, and the introduction is better. It is really, really crispy concise with how close or how fast we get to understanding of who this character is and what she's about. All the kids want to play. The play is, come over now if you want to play. Come join us. And she explains herself as, I'm the girl who wonders, would it be okay for me to join? When obviously, to anybody watching, it's an invitation for anybody to join. Come join, do the thing, fucking do it. But some people don't know. They feel antsy, and would it be okay? Am I stepping on somebody's toes? And that's where a lot of Hitori's standoffishness and isolation seems to come from. This desire to not get in the way, this desire to not impose on others or be a burden to others, etc., etc. It's a tough one to overcome, but a necessary one. By existing, you're going to cause harm, imposition, burden, however you want to view it. You need things and other people have them. And some of the things that you need that they have are like friendship. You need that shit. And communication. You need that shit. And you need to be willing to impose on them in order to get it. And that means you need to be willing to impose on others and step outside of yourself. And that's hard to do. I'm not going to pretend that it isn't. Some people make it look easy, but that's just because they've trained it into themselves. And for some kids, based on their neurochemistry and how they were raised and their simple innate nature, some kids it is easy for. And good for them, assholes. But some people, like me, maybe like you, given that you're here and relating to Hitori and vibing with this show, and getting some of your human connection via a face talking to you on the internet, funny that we talked about that in the very beginning, that we can connect this way. Some people have a harder time, and we have to teach ourselves how to do this shit. It's an important life skill to be willing to impose on others for your own purposes, for your own needs. Here's the revelation. The one that I've had, the one that's been most valuable to me. People want to be imposed upon. They actually do. It's weird, but they do. There's an old trick that I heard a long time ago, and it turns out to be true. I don't know exactly what the neurochemistry or neuroscience behind it is, or even the psychology behind it exactly. But it's an old trick, and it works. And the trick is this. If you want somebody at school to like you, ask them for a pencil or an eraser or a pen or something. Hey, I forgot a pencil. Could I just borrow a pencil? Oh, thanks so much. Okay. Why? I don't know. Why does it work? I don't know. But it fucking works. You ask somebody for something, and a bond is created between you by imposing on them, by forcing them to some extent. Although they don't have to say yes, they will. Unless they don't have a pencil, and then you're really fucked. But then you'll bond with them over like, oh, haha, that's so funny, that's so silly, oh well, so be it. I wonder if that person has a pencil. But it works. Weirdly. And you can apply the concept to all sorts of other things. You're in a grocery store standing next to somebody looking at the soup aisle, you go, hey, do you know which one of these is good? That'll get them. Standing at the grocery store looking at all the gum. Hey, do you know which one of these is good? Ask for a little help. Ask for a favor. Ask for something. And 1 out of every 1,000 people will give you a harumph and walk away or whatever. And fuck that person. They're on their own downward spiral. And now that you've learned it, you can stay the heck away from them. But all 999 of the others will go, oh, a human talking to me who's asking for my help and opinion on something, and I get to, without compunction, share all of my knowledge about the world? Let me tell you about the wide variety of gum. And you're sitting there like, I already know all the shit about gum, but hey, now I've got a friend. Do I know how it works? No. But I know that it works, and so there you go. I see people like Bocchi on a pretty regular basis. I go to a commercial gym, and to differentiate, a commercial gym is a big box gym with lots of equipment and all sorts of options, as compared to like a pro gym or a real weightlifting gym or a martial arts gym or a powerlifting gym where things are sort of specialized and people are there to fucking work. A commercial gym is all sorts of people. From newbies to high schoolers to middle schoolers to parents carrying their kids around to cardio bunnies to meatheads. Just everybody and their moms are at the gym, and often people with their moms are at the gym. So you see all sorts, and you get to see all kinds of different people interacting. And an interaction, a particular interaction that I've expressed before on the channel, but I'll express here because it's relevant, that I see relatively frequently is this. There's a nervous human being, usually male, usually young, usually skinny, usually a noob at the gym, who's sitting there waiting for a piece of equipment or waiting to try to get a piece of a thing. Like there's a weight on a rack that they need, but there's a dude using the rack. And so they're sitting sort of crossways to it, sort of half watching, but mostly on their phone, not really fully paying attention to the thing that they need, but not like actively going and engaging with it, sort of waiting for somebody to ask them if they need anything. Kind of like Itori waiting for somebody to talk to her. And they wait and they wait and they wait and they wait. Let's say they're waiting for a bench. Benches are usually in high demand. They're waiting for a bench. There's a big dude on the bench, benching lots of weight, right? And they go, well, I'm not talking to that guy, so I'm going to sit over in the corner, away from that guy, stare at the weight, and hopefully people in the gym get the idea that I'm next for the bench and I want that thing. And hopefully things will work out in my favor. Big Mans gets up off the bench, goes, "Rah, rah, rah," takes his plates off, or doesn't. Fucking assholes. And leaves. And the guy who's been waiting sort of looks around sheepishly, and as they're looking around, Big Man's number 2 walks up to the bench, lays down, starts going, and the guy goes, "But I was waiting." And their life is like ruined, and they're spiraling out into insanity and destroyed by the circumstance because it's, "But how? Nobody knew that I was the one." Yeah, nobody knew. Because you didn't say shit. You didn't walk up and engage. And I've been that guy, and I've seen that guy, and I've experienced that guy staring at me, waiting for the thing that I was using, and all parts of the whole circumstance suck. They just suck for everybody involved, except for Big Man's, who got his bench and is doing his lifts and doesn't give a fuck. So what do people who've got it figured out do in a circumstance like that? Well, they walk up to the guy, Big Man, who's benching. They go, "Hey, man, nice bench. How many sets do you have left?" And if he says, "Oh, I just got one more, man." "Cool, I'm next." Done. And then they're next. Or, "Cool, can I work in with you?" And every time the guy will say, "Yeah, man, come on, yeah." And then we'll give you tips on your form and all that shit. But if you're sitting there waiting in the wings, not telling anybody what you want, the world cannot arrange itself around you. I have this fundamental, like almost metaphysical theory about the world, and it is that if you speak what you desire, it comes into being. Not in the way that you'd expect it to, but it does. Whatever that is. However you phrase it, however you formulate it. If you speak the right words, in the right place, in the right way, it happens. If you ask for what you want, you very frequently get it. Ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door shall be opened. But if you walk up to the door and stand there at the door, and you don't let anybody on the inside know that you want in, you can sit there stewing all night going, "Gosh, everybody's so mean and they're not letting me inside the fun place," and and it's your own damn fault because you didn't have the balls to reach out and knock on the door. Somebody's in your way and you want to get through to get something from a drawer. "Hey, can I get through here?" "Yeah, of course." Done. You'll do it unconsciously. Don't even think about it. And the same goes for every element of anything that you might want from another person, including friendship and affection and potentially even love. Those most ethereal qualities. It seems to me that if you just go up and ask for them, you are infinitely more likely to get them. And I mean infinitely, because your chances of getting them are about 0 if you don't do anything. Now, in a story like this, we formulate a perfect circumstance where, despite her own reluctance, somebody else runs into her and is exactly the right kind of person to not notice her reticence and drag her into the social world, with kicking and screaming, right? The likelihood that that will happen in your life is low. And by low, I mean 0. What I mean is it could happen, but it's guaranteed to almost if you actually go out and do it. Somebody has to be yellow. Somebody does. Why not you? You've met people like Yellow in your life, people who don't give a shit about whether you don't want to be at the party. They want you at the party, and they're going to make it happen. And they're going to figure out how to make it happen. And they're going to pull you kicking and screaming along to the party so that they can have their good time. And you're going to hate them and resent them for it, and then love them for it. Even the worst introvert can become that character. You just have to pretend long enough. So my recommendation is, if you feel like Bocchi, Hitori here, start pretending like you don't. Start overcoming in the smallest ways that you can your own reluctance to impose upon other people, and start asking other people for things that you want and need. Tiny things. And you'll find that they'll say yes. And in doing that, you might grow 1% of the confidence that you need to go to the next step. So do it 100 times and grow 100% of the confidence that you need to go to the next step, and then go from there. And the same goes for anything social that you're afraid of. Most of us are terrified of talking to somebody that we're attracted to. Gender irrelevant, sex irrelevant, unimportant. Most of us are terrified to go and address and talk to somebody that we're attracted to. Even if it's not like a sexual attraction, like a platonic attraction, where you meet somebody and you're like, gosh, I'd really like to be their friend. That person seemed kind of cool. Too cool for me. Guess I'm going to sit here in the corner and stare at nothing. That'll work. That'll certainly get that cool person across the room to notice me. But if you go up and you tell them that you know, wow, I really like your pin. Oh, that's a cool keychain. Whoa, where'd you get those shoes? Whatever it is. Hey, do you know what soups are cool? Which soup is your favorite? Your chances go up immensely. Would it be okay for me to join in? Of course it would. But there's a block inside her mind. An anxiety, a nervousness, maybe a lack of ability to read the cues, a lack of understanding, a lack of historically being able to bond like that. Ed from Psyculturists might say something about attachment styles. It's unknown, and it's irrelevant in this moment for us. We don't know why Hitori is this way. It doesn't really matter. She doesn't know why she's this way. She just knows that she's this way and that she wishes she wasn't. And so we lay it out. She misses her chance and ends up all alone. And here we get an element of that excellent framing. They move out and become grayed out for her. Oh, I gotta stop putting my arm directly on the switch for that thing. They become grayed out for her. Unreachable, too far away. And so she ends up hanging out with the teacher. And that feeling of having a teacher come over and assume that something is wrong and try to help seems exactly right as well. Alone with Sensei having lunch. Separated from all the other kids. And again, this grayed out landscape around her. Like she can't even experience the nature that they're in because she's so obsessed with the fact that she's missing the social interaction part of things. And that's okay. But it's not okay. And let's be clear about this. Being alone is not acceptable. And this is going to hurt some of you. You're killing yourself. And a lot of us, and I say this from a place of empathy, real empathy, because I've been there for years. For years. And I've broken out of it myself. You're killing yourself. Humans outsource the problem of sanity. We go insane when we're alone, inevitably. If we don't have others to mirror ourselves off of and to figure out whether what we're doing is socially normalized or acceptable, we fall apart. We freak the fuck out and become really weird. And then it becomes infinitely harder to jump back in. So start jumping back in immediately, or you're gonna lose more and more and more and more and more of yourself. We outsource the problem of sanity. We are not capable of remaining sane solo. There are a few, one in every couple thousand, a few people who are optimized for aloneness. And they freak the fuck out when they're in society and they run off and live in the woods. My dad is one of them. And he came back to society too, because he went insane out there. And I thought I was one of them. And so I ran off and lived in my own set of woods in many ways. A digital woodlands. And I went insane out there. Insane enough to start a channel like this and do something crazy. But I wasn't terribly sane. And I got weird in a lot of ways that I don't like very much. And as I've opened myself socially, those have fixed themselves in relation to the people that I'm around, bouncing off of them, understanding people, and using that to understand myself. And anime has been a crucial tool in that, because I can relate to it better than I can relate to people, and I can read the expressions in animation better than I can read people. So I started to rebuild a foundation of social cues and norms and comprehension and understanding and ideas about how people should be. And I used that foundation to jump back in, and it worked. So here we have Hitori really teetering on the edge there, moving into aloneness. Desaturated, grayed out, colorless, locked in frames of squares, bars and bars. Trapped. By herself, of course. That's me. Sometimes I think I should really change the way I am. It's a powerful thought. But it's one that the mind revolts against because we don't like change very much, even when it's good for us. So this is a hard thought. And even harder to execute. But I always stammer when I try to speak, and I'm really bad at keeping eye contact, and the list sets itself up. And we establish in this frame, in this moment, this set of drapes with the slight subtle pattern on it. This is where there's light outside, right? And she's looking at her little sister, who is naturally, as most young children are, naturally gregarious and laughing and playing and excited. And she can't relate to it, really. So I suppose a life as the archetypal introvert just seems to fit me best. And then up comes a flare of something. We get a character saying, yeah, I was that person. No friends. And she snaps up, huh? And now you're part of a band that's extremely popular. Yes, a band is a place where even introverts can shine. And she blinks and she blinks. And behind her, centered, symmetrical, this is framed ink by Marcus Mateo Mestre. Rule of thirds. Drawing a perfectly symmetrical composition will do the job for an epic or otherwise special moment, but when used regularly, it will just feel too self-conscious and convenient, missing any natural feel to it. Compositions are normally better based on off-center patterns, like when we compose by thirds, which allow us to achieve this off-center feel, while at the same time preventing us from going too close to the sides of the frame, falling again into a strange and uncomfortable look. Positioning our main elements on any of these axes or the resulting intersections will help us get an interesting and well-balanced image. And we have two representations, one of the rule of thirds, and you can see that I am mostly standing upon a third. And when I stand here, my eyes are right on a third, and I've arranged my screening in that way for that reason. If I were perfectly centered in frame, that would accomplish a very different form of media. It would be a little too special, in a way. And so this moment, where she's directly in the center of the frame, with two different patterns behind her, strikes me as a moment of choice, standing in front of two roads that lead in different directions. One is the same walls that have been behind her this whole time, and the other is the drapery with a pattern on it, with light shining through. And in the center is Hitori. And I think it's no accident, although it may be, that her colorful bits, the parts that stick out of her, that don't fit the whole simple self, are sticking out to the side of creativity and light and the world beyond. I think that makes perfect sense. I'm going to keep framed ink out because I think I might need it again. I don't know. And in her eyes light up, and she can't help it. And we get this lovely little flow from her hair as she goes, and it's the first set of examples of something that I really like about the show so far, which is that while the character designs are very simple and even the hair is very simple, there's good motion all throughout, which is all you really want from an anime. You want some good motion, and the motion to be character driving. The bits of motion should be the most poignant elements of expression in the show, I think, and they should be centered around the characters in a show like this that's so character focused, and I think they did an excellent job of that. And so we see that the father goes, at last she's getting into guitar too. And of course, they've missed what the revelation really is. Hitori wants to be a part of something. Hitori feels like she's an introvert and feels like there's a place where she could shine. She sees an opportunity. And so she runs up the stairs. And again, in every frame of this, I think the composition is really nice. The angles of the staircase, the window on the wall, the placing and positioning of each of the camera elements. Opening the door and we pull back out through it. Zoop. And we do this sort of over-the-shoulder shot of the guitar in a way. And so she takes the thing, sets up in the corner of her room, and I'll note here that the guitar looks really good in these first shots. And is very nice looking. Gold and black. Moves in a lovely way. I imagine that they had to 3D model it and then roto it. It's so hard to do a 3D object like that in pure 2D. But I don't really care. It ends up looking great. And she's struck by the image of herself as a guitarist, more than by the playing itself or by the expression. Which is the opposite of the way that most people get into it, I think. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a lot of people go, I want to look like, to feel like that person. As opposed to, I need a place to express the music that's in my brain. Which is kind of where I'm coming at it from. I'm like, all right, guitars exist, and I have some training on them, and I kind of have some music in my brain that I need to express effectively. But she sort of dances around and smiles. And this is very Yui. I mean, very, very Yui. I mean, if you haven't seen K-On! And you think that this is original, go watch K-On! It's the same scene. In a lot of ways. Twanging away for the first time on the guitar and being overwhelmed by the, it can create music. But also, there's a bit of this expectation that you pick up the guitar and you're immediately good at it, and then you're not. We get this real, genuine smile from her. I've made up my mind. I'm going to learn to play guitar. Then and here's where we get into trouble. I'm going to learn to play guitar, and then I'll this, and then I'll be happy. Cart before the horse, chickens before they're hatched, and eggs in one basket. Oh boy. What you need is to align yourself with the enjoyment of learning a new thing regardless of the end results that you perceive as possible. Something like that. If you enjoy the process, then you'll enjoy all processes, and it's the enjoyment of the process that gets you there. You want to be already there in the moment that you start. Not just envisioning an end goal, but the end goal should be the process. This is expressed over and over in varying ways of effectiveness. It's the journey, not the destination. All the way up through into Miley Cyrus's The Fucking Climb. People have been trying to express this idea, and a lot of us don't get it. The idea is the process is the goal. The learning the new thing is the thing that you're seeking. But of course, she skips right over that and on to, I'm going to form a band at school and then I'll have friends and everything will be great And of course, she runs into a problem, an obstacle at the first step, which is, how the fuck? This shit's actually hard. And a lot of people hit that first step and they quit. And so be it. A lot of people don't have what it takes in any number of fields. A lot of people don't have what it takes. A lot of people give up. A lot of people live miserable lives. A lot of people marry people that they don't love, or convince themselves that they love someone they don't, and then tie themselves to them. That's why the divorce rate is so high, part of it. A lot of people live miserable lives, and you could be one of them. And don't think for a second that you won't, because that's the norm. The norm is to live miserably, wishing upon stars, dreaming of dreams that will never happen. That's the norm. Don't be fucking normal. Be fucking weird. Find something worth pursuing and kill yourself trying. But Hitori doesn't give up. And it's not clear why. And it's not necessarily clear that the story is the type of story that needs a why. She runs into this obstacle and she sticks with it. She was inspired. That inspiration carries her forward into the first step of learning and past that into the next steps of learning, and so be it. She twangs away for the first time. Out of key, but I will say a very good recording of an unplugged in electric guitar, it sounds like. And she's still thinking far into the future. All the things that all the characters of every Cute Girls Doing Cute Music show have ever thought. Form a band, play at the Culture Festival, eventually sell out the Budokan, play there. Fuck yeah. Metal as hell. And so she twangs away. I think there's literally an exact scene of Yui sitting in Seiza going twang, 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 twang on her first guitar as well. I'll have everyone go crazy for me. We get everybody else watching, and they don't know what's happened inside that little girl, but something has changed. Has enough changed? No. And we womp into 3 years later, and she's shredding. And I want to see that cut. Cool audio interface. That's incorrect. I guess actually it might just be a TRS plug plugged into the center. I can't show you my audio interface because of where it is, but no, that is just a TRS plug into the center. It's good audio interface. Okay, I have to frame by frame that. Okay, bits and bobs on mixed frame 1s and 2s. Little smears in there to make it feel more impactful and faster. And she's playing in the closet. I see. A tiny little box, a tiny little space. Posters on the wall. And I like this front framing device of the tripods and stuff. Kind of ties her in and closes her in and compresses her and crushes her. I like to use the word crush. She's not crushed here. We'll get to a frame where she's crushed in a moment. But she gets compressed down. And she looks up at the camera with this look of desperation. Crazy for me? Impossible. We cut from there into the OP. Bam, bam, bam! Colors, lights, darkness, light, Bocchi spinning, playgrounds, swing sets, guitars, various characters, all of their instruments, different expressions. Bocchi, Bocchi, Bocchi. The family watching from the side. Characters zipping in through the wings, through the winds. Goofiness. I really like these smeary sections that just become silly and goofy. And we get this sort of blob of Bocchi running away. Just like a slug. I really like her as giant Godzilla in the background. I feel like that's a Monogatari reference, actually. I don't know, but I feel like that's a first OP Bakemonogatari reference of just needs staples going by. The feel is exactly right. Streams of Bocchi everywhere. Characters, friendship. Stuck in a corner, darkness all around. I mean, that's the perfect visual language there, is like a starry frame, darkness in a corner with your laptop. Perfect. I really like this colorization style, these, with the flat, bright colored edge lighting. I really like those, and we get them on all the characters as they swing by. They're really dynamic and really cute. Snap to Club Starry. I want to make thunder roar. I am literally obsessed with these two characters. They are so hot, or cute, however you want to put it. I don't give a shit. What they look like to me, they look like the one band ED that we get from K-On! Girls, where they're all in the black and white and being like really mature. Really like that shit. We go in through, I think, Dagashia's eye. We get this character with the sharp teeth who we haven't met, who's weird as hell. A weird drummer that we don't know. A flip. I really like the imagery there. Okay, so the guitar drops down, deep into the deep end, downward, bursting through the water, and then we flip the whole thing. It's not that she begins to swim upward, it's that we rotate, and going down is the way to go up, and she becomes freed by that, right? By an inversion of principle, and gets blown away by running, the process, moving, going, looking up toward the sky, running forward, smiling, pushing herself, barely making it there, rushing to get there and join everybody else. And in the moment that she joins everybody else, they each look and, in their own expressive ways, welcome her in. Of course, red and yellow are more expressive and blue is less so, but that's what we would expect from a character who doesn't express herself very well. And bam, they're all waiting for you. So raise your eyes, let the light shine upon you, and all these windows into other friendships will open. And all these other characters will become a part of your world. Guitar without them, her without them without her, and a match made in heaven. Alone, alone, alone. And then a smash of the guitar. Welcome. Very cool OP. Like it a lot. So here we enter the world of Hitori. She's been playing a lot and done nothing with it. Okay, this is the trap. One of the traps. It's a big trap. Once I'm good enough at the thing, then I'll show it to the world. Once I make the perfect anime reaction, then I'll post it to YouTube. Once I take a really good photo, then I'll send it in and get it judged. Once I draw a good drawing, I'll show it to people and try to get it in a gallery. Failure, 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 failure. Why? Because it's meaningless if you don't share it. Because you are not going to be capable of critiquing yourself. Because you're not going to get insights from others. Because the real goal is the thing that you have to approach immediately. You have to go for the thing that you want. And our brains are such that when it comes to doing a difficult thing, they'll break the goal down into little pieces, and then they'll hyper focus on one of the little pieces to the degradation and detriment of all the other pieces. And you lose sight of the whole goal. And so she focuses so hard on becoming a good guitarist that she forgets that the goal was to get out of her shell. And so she does the hard thing, and tricks her brain into doing the hard thing and tricks herself into not doing the really hard thing, the thing that she doesn't actually want to do, that she needs to do. Because sitting in her room playing the guitar is easier than going and talking to people, even if it's hard. It's like when you have homework to do and suddenly cleaning your whole room seems like the best idea in the world. Or you gotta have a really tough conversation with somebody, and suddenly, man, going to the gym and working out and staying the heck away from them seems way easier. Yeah. Our brains are tricky like that, so you have to be careful. I never performed once. I never put together the band. I never made a friend. It all fell apart. And so as we go through these painterly layers as she moves through, she comes to the feeling of inevitability, of a deadline. There's no chance now. Shit! And even that is not enough. But despite my vow, it's been a whole month since high school started. And yet my heart remains grounded in the guitar. Little better than a shut-in. Lyrics and music by me from the closet with love. And even then, even when she writes something cool, something expressive, she instead uploads covers of a popular band because they're more likely to get views, she thinks. So terrified of expressing herself and being rejected that she never expresses herself, and self-expression is life itself. Everything that she does, there's one restriction, one holding back, a bit of reluctance. I was taught a phrase a long time ago. We suffer by our reluctances. If you go through your life and you examine and evaluate all the things that you're reluctant to do, you will find the things that you need to be doing, and you will find in many ways the sources of your truest and deepest suffering. Reluctant to step outside of yourself, reluctant to learn how to cook, reluctant to exercise, reluctant to change your belief system, reluctant to meditate, reluctant to go to sleep on time, reluctant to wake up on time, reluctant to form a band, reluctant to talk to the pretty girl, reluctant to ask your teacher for help, reluctant to go and apply to the school or the program that you actually want. Reluctant. And almost always that reluctance comes from a fear of failure or a fear of rejection, but it doesn't really matter. You're going to suffer for it. We suffer by our reluctances, almost as a rule, an axiom. Because reluctance itself is like the knowledge that you know that you need to do something, and you're like, but maybe I'll just put it off until I've cleaned my room. I'm just going to do that instead. No need to go have that hard conversation. Welcome to suffering. Reluctant to post her actual songs on the internet and get critiqued for them. And so she posts band covers and feels empty and hollow because of it. Yeah. So, under the name Guitar Hero, lots of videos. Lots of videos, lots of comments. And she's getting this self-justification, this support, this appreciation, this adoration, admiration, love, and community from the internet. And that's a trap too. It's a good one because it's better than nothing, but it's a trap too. And that's something that I've learned over my now years as a YouTuber, uploading myself, not covers of popular bands, but myself. is that you can get really stuck in the analytics and align your persona with the digital one. And what I mean by that is not that the person that I am here is a different person than I really am. It's as close to really me as I can get it. There's inevitably some difference. As soon as the camera goes on, some differences happen. It's observation. We change in front of an observer. But it's as close as I can get it to being as honest as possible. But you can use it as a crutch and say, well, I'm getting all my socialization. I'm getting it all through the internet, or through video games, or through Discord channels, or through chat rooms, or whatnot. And you can get a lot of it from that. And I think they're great tools for people who don't have other options, or people who are too stuck, or too hurt, or too anxious, or too scared to step outside of themselves. A little bit is a lot better than none at all. But like everything else, if you're climbing a mountain and you get to a little lip, a little ledge where you can just barely rest, there's this temptation to stop there and say, oh, well, that's good enough. But there's more mountain to climb. And if you rest on that ledge too long, a stiff breeze will come and blow you right off. You got to go set yourself on sturdy footing. And that means getting to the top of the mountain, doing the hard thing, going all the way and expressing yourself in person, talking to real people, doing the thing that you fear the most. You can get stuck in this trap. It's a pleasant trap. But it's the sweet smell of honey that sticks flies to flypaper. So you gotta watch out for sweet-smelling traps. And the internet is built to make you feel like you're really being loved, and to manipulate your dopaminergic system so that you feel like you're really being loved. And you might be. And you might be really helping other people, as we find out that Hitori is. But if it doesn't fulfill the initial impulse, then it's not good enough, and you can't let it feel good enough. I'm racking up the views lately, too. And people are telling me that I'm good. So many people cheering for me online. The internet is filled with people just like me. And then we scroll down to Cowpin, and Cowpin says, thank you. I formed a band and played this for our cultural festival, and the whole school went crazy for it. You're great. You inspired me to do the thing. And you look at it and you go, fuck. Fuck. That's what I want. Damn it. That was what I wanted. Shit. And so she slams the snap, because it shines a light upon her own ineptitude, her own inadequacy, her own fears and inability. And we get this, oh, it's Hakobun. Ah, cool. We get this great sequence of dialogue from Hitori. I put in the effort, okay? I did it. I did everything. I did everything I needed to do. What did I do? Well, let me tell you. I put CDs on my desk and waited for people to talk to me. Please. I bought a bunch of merch and I waited for people to talk to me. Please, oh please, oh please. Somebody else do the hard work of reaching outside themselves and talking to me, the weirdo. I put in weird requests at lunch. And all of it is just a litany of failures. And so she ends up in, going to bed and you replay your third grade idiocy mode. Not the flashbacks. And we can all relate to that. Yes, the flashbacks. Because that's your brain telling you where you fucked up. And telling you what you need to fix. Because you need to fix that shit. Now. Meow. Okay. So back to it she goes. Back to opening the computer. Opens the comments and finds that other people are doing the same too. And then we get yellow. Lucky! Not sure if there's anyone at my high school that plays guitar. And this sparks the idea. I see. What I'm missing is people just don't know that I play guitar. So I'll just wear a guitar around and people will know. A revelation. And so, with all her merch, all her rubber bands, She looks at herself in a window. I look like a real somebody. And to some extent, she does. Ready. We'll be all over this year's Culture Festival. Positive, positive, positive. And here's the scene where she's crushed. So again, we have this central framing. She's right at the middle of the frame, mostly. And she's as tiny as can be, with all the horizon lines coming down to her. There's a half a second of pause as she walks into the room. Because there's always a pause when somebody walks into a room. It doesn't say anything about you. But it could have turned into something interesting. Something silly, you know. Walk into the room and go, I want to start a band! Probably would work. At least you'd get a bunch of people going, silly! You might get one person come and talk to you. But she doesn't step outside of herself, really. She puts on the airs and the trappings. She doesn't have the balls. She lacks the fucking stones. So she puts all her stuff down and waits and waits and begins to take off all of the bits and give up. She gives up. But defeated. And this is a defeated hallway. This is a defeated hallway. And she hears other people laughing. And she says, did I go overboard hyping myself up last night? But I'm putting out such powerful rocker chick vibes. And there's something that I want to say here as far as useful tools go. I can't remember the exacts of this study, but I heard someone discussing a study that was done on people and their motivation. And as you would expect, manifesting is a big idea. And as you would expect, let me start over. Manifesting is a big and popular idea. You think about what you want and will it into existence, and then it becomes into existence, you would think. And I think that's true if you speak it out to the right people in the right ways to the world. Or if you speak it to yourself in a way that makes it real. And I have a theory that that's what you're doing when people pray. What they're really doing is they're telling their subconscious, I want this. Look for ways to achieve it. Spawn microprocesses in the back of my brain looking for ways to achieve this goal. They're sitting there and with great gravity saying like, I want to do this. I want to become a car salesman. I really hope that my little sister isn't sick. I really hope that my little sister gets better. And they start in their head looking for ways to make that happen. I think that's what goes on. You manifest the thing by really telling yourself that you want it. But I think it's more powerful to say that out to the world, to other people. Regardless, they did a study. They took a bunch of people and had them think about their dreams or where they want to be in a few years. And they had one group of people think about where they would be if everything went properly and went perfectly, and who they'd like to be in all the best case scenario, and really focus on it and imagine it. And then they tracked the people and saw how close they got to their goals or whether they achieved them. And then, in their intelligence as study designers, they took a group and they had them imagine not just what would happen if everything went right, but also what would happen to them if everything went wrong. If they made every decision perfectly wrong, how fast would they spiral out of control and how bad would their life be? What's the devil chasing you? What's the monster? What's the darkness? What's the worst case scenario? Not just the best case scenario, but the worst. And what they found is the people that ideated and manifested both, or worked to manifest the good intentions, but kept the bad thing nipping at their heels in the back of their mind, they were statistically significantly more likely to achieve their goals. Why? Because humans are both predators and prey. It's how we are as creatures. We are predators, but we are also prey. Big animals love eating humans, love eating monkeys. Snakes love eating monkeys. And so We work best when we're driven towards something and away from something else at the same time. You get like double the motivation. And Itori only has forward motivation in a positive sense. She's got no fear of where she might be. The fear is already manifest in her life, right? It's her current existence. It's the status quo. What she doesn't realize, and what you need to realize, is that it could get a lot worse very quickly. So, if you're in a position where there's something that you want to do that you've been reluctant to do, I want you to start to really think about what will happen and where you'll be in a year if you do everything wrong. If you keep running away from your truth. Not even things going wrong in your environment, just the things that you might be able to control. If you ruin your relationships with your family. If you stop practicing. If you fall apart. Where do you end up in a couple years? Not where you want to be, and worse than you are currently, because it can always get worse. People like to say, well, it can't, nowhere to go but up, and that's usually not true. We have an almost infinite capacity to experience pain. So don't think that you've reached the end of your rope. Because you can go a lot further down. And that should scare you. And you should let it scare you. And you should let that fear drive you. Align yourself with the thing that you want and the positive motivation to go toward it. And align yourself against the things that you don't want and the negative motivation to run the fuck away from them. She stops when she hears laughter, I think. I'm not sure. Did I make myself unapproachable? If they're laughing at me now, it'll be a full break. A mental annihilation. And we see the first hint of red, but she doesn't enter in this episode yet. So we just see a hint, and then she runs to catch up with everybody else. But she sees Gita, and her name is Kita-chan, which is not far off from Gita-chan. And so we'll see how that ends up working out. So Bocchi finds herself alone in a place for loners. And she says the truth. I understand what I'm doing wrong. I'm putting all the expectation on others. Really, it has to be me. But she doesn't know how to self-actualize, doesn't know how to turn that on and do the thing. And there's a secret to doing the thing, and it's this. If you get slightly better at doing any of the things that you don't like, you reinforce the systems within your brain, the literal circuits within your brain that are good at doing the thing that you don't want to do. Okay, what can you learn from that? What you can learn is this. Find a thing that you don't want to do and do it. And then do it the next day, and then do it the next day, and do it the next day. And what you will find is that in every circumstance with things that are hard or you don't want to do, you will become better at doing them because you will overcome that hump of, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I'm doing it, and you'll just do it. The secret isn't a thought or an idea, really, as far as I can tell. Despite the many hundreds and hundreds of people who make livings off of writing excellent, to some extent, books on all the ways to motivate yourself and to generate success, and all the millions of views on motivational videos on the internet, or millions and millions and millions of motivational Instagram posts of various kinds, and motivational fucking TikToks and whatever. Do the thing, just do it. Thinking it through. It's not a thinking thing, it's a doing thing. You have to just do it. Mind follows body. Mentality follows action. Mood follows action. And if you get trapped in your mind, escape through your body. Literally through embodiment, through doing the thing that you need to be doing, is the place where you need to go. And it's usually the place where you least want to look. Here's my recommendation. Go to your bathroom. turn on the water for a shower, and turn it as cold as it goes. Stare at it for a second. Recognize that it sucks, that you don't want to do it, you don't want to get into that fucking thing, and you're going to be miserable. And then head first. It has to be head first. It'll be worse if you go feet first or if you touch the water. Way worse. Head first, top of your head first, face first, straight into the cold water. And you're going to be breathing heavy, and you're going to be fucking shitting yourself. Not literally, but you're going to be internally like, ah! You're going to be breathing heavy, and you'll probably make it like 10 to 15 seconds before you have to turn the water to hot or turn the water off or something. And that's fine, because what you've done is the first step. You saw something that you know is not fun, and you generated within yourself the neurochemical balance and the decision-making power of your will to get in and stay in for as long as you can. And then do it again the next day, and then do it again the next day, and then do it again the next day, and do it every time you take a shower. Get in cold. And you can turn it to hot and go on with the rest of your shower if you must. But try to get to a point where you can take the whole shower cold. And you'll do a few things. First, you'll save on your energy bill, because you'll be using cold water. Second, you'll save on your water bill, because you'll want to get the fuck out of there as fast as possible. Third, it's really good for your skin. It's like exceptionally good for your skin and your hair to wash cold. Really give it a shot. It's amazing. But most importantly, it's exceptionally valuable for your mind, because overcoming that one difficult thing enables you to trigger the same circuit whenever you come across any other difficult thing. And the cold shower is one isolated thing that doesn't usually tap into other fears. Social anxiety is a very specific fear. And while the answer to tackling social anxiety is to socialize, that's the hardest thing to do. So it might be easier to force yourself to play guitar, for example. Well, it might be easier to force yourself to get into a cold shower. But forcing yourself to play guitar won't make you more social. Forcing yourself to get into a cold shower will make you more capable of overcoming friction, which is what's going on with the socialness, so it might work there. Give it a shot. Knowing isn't half the battle. If you don't know, you probably can't fix it. That's true. But you can know everything about what you're doing wrong and still be sitting on the couch, shoving Twinkies in your face, watching the shitty reality TV or the porn, and dying slowly. And you know exactly what you should be doing. You know you should be in bed by 11, but it's 2 a.m. and you're still playing video games. You know you should eat fruits and vegetables, but instead, the chips find their way into your lap. How? Oh, because knowing doesn't do it. Acting does it. There was a line from Cyberpunk last week. Good things come to those who act. And I like that line a lot. Good things come to those who wait, too. But those who act, they can go and get the good things on their own. And that's correct, as far as I'm concerned. And it seems to be correct in this show as well. And I like it a lot. Welcome to the gathering place, and she empathizes, and of course is interrupted by the fact that it is not so. What a crushing moment. And a really lovely little bit of cuteness, because that's the kind of thing that characters do is, or that people do, is say, well, I'm not that weird. There are a lot of people who are just like me. It's just like when she scrolls through the internet, it's like, there are so many socially inept introverts, and then you look up the least social person in your high school, and you're like, oh, they just got married. Oh, and there are 30 people at their wedding who they like seem to be really good friends with. Oh. What's my excuse? You don't have one. Good stuff. And it hurts her immensely. She looks down and says, and sees, I broke 30k subs. Cool. Great. And then uses it as a crutch again. Hey, that's right. I'm on the internet. This is where I belong, man. Resting on the lip on the cliff. Sort of makes me not want to go back to school. Makes me want to withdraw further and further and further and trap myself deeper and deeper into this pit. And then... all yellow and red and bobbly and wobbly. Up comes the hell no. Up comes the hell yeah. Up comes the gregarious, goofy, over-the-top fool of a character. Big eyes, staring straight at you, addressing you. She literally can't speak because her voice is so dry. And this character needs you. And there are people like this, and they're lovely. And a lot of introverts wouldn't survive without them. But you can't count on them to arrive in your life. It's lucky that Hitori has one arrive in her life, but you can't count on them to. And so the show is going to show us what happens if you end up finding a way to break out of your shell, whatever that way is. In this case, it's someone else dragging Hitori out of that shell. And a good thing. But you can't rely on the expectation that that will happen. And so for our last, I hope, serious moment of this reaction and discussion, what you need to do is to generate that persona inside yourself and find the part of you that goes, gosh, it would be great if I could just do all the things and blah, blah, blah. And let that part of you drag the rest of your brain kicking and screaming out into the world. And then go out there and do the thing. Jump in. Step into the misery. Expect to get beaten the fuck back. Expect to find out that you suck. Because you might. And be willing and open to learn. Hi. How good are you? Pretty decent, I guess. And she's fully no eye contact. And what we realize over the course of this is that this blonde character doesn't read the cues very effectively, or is so in her own mindset that she doesn't care. And that's exactly what we need. Really? Please join my band. And she's pulling even further and further away. Smack! Please play guitar! Very cute. Love the background. Huh? 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 Ah, overwhelmed. Thanks. Let's head to the club. No response, right? Doesn't read the uncomfortability, doesn't read the expressions. That can be really useful to just forge on ahead regardless. And if you can awaken that spirit inside your head, you can have it drag you around. Or you can be a goofball who goes and drags the people who look the loneliest out into the real world and find that they might not be that lonely. And so we end up walking. We do this really great interplay with their eye lines. Right, no courage. She's so fashionable too. And so her eyes are on her and she wants to observe her. She wants to look at her, right? Because when you're with a person, you want to look at them. You want to experience them. But if you're so terrified of them seeing you, because you harbor some darkness within you, or think that you do, or think that you're unworthy, then as soon as they look at you, well, so here's that darkness within her. Shit quality tracksuit, bags under my eyes, my back's all arched, I suck, I'm the worst, and I smell like mold, and she's so cute. And immediately, as she turns, instead of openly and honestly expressing any of the things that she admires about this other person, which would be the way to go. A well-adjusted person would go, wow, your hair smells really good. What kind of shampoo do you, blah, 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 blah. When you're socially anxious, those ideas never come up. You're just thinking, gosh, I hope they don't notice how weird I am. And every time she looks back at her, the eyes divert, terrified of catching eye to eye. Why is that? Why when we're socially anxious, and this is a legitimate question, not a rhetorical one, why when we're socially anxious do we have such a hard time making eye contact with others? I don't know. I think it's because the connections made in eye contact are genuine. Like really real. potent. And when you're ashamed of your own being, that's shameful to be seen in that fullness. Interesting. So we cut here. These are C fucking G. Why? So that's mind-boggling to me. They chose to do this walk cycle in CG. These are CG models. Why? It's so interesting because I can't help but relate this show to K-On! And to Naoki Yamada's work in general. And one of the things that we can say about Naoki Yamada is that if you see a shot of characters, especially high school girls' legs and feet in a shot in a Yamada show, there's a distinct and direct emotional purpose for it. She's learned that you can demonstrate endlessly the emotions and current state of being of various characters through their walk or their way of standing. And so when you get a shot like that in a Yamada show, usually it's one of the most detailed and specific and characterized shots in the show. And here we get a shot that could do that, and it's got no character to it because it's in CG. It's just these broken walk cycles. Not broken, they work, but they don't say anything about the characters, and they look weird. I know that when I saw it pop up, I said, that looks good. It's not really what I meant. What I meant is that looks different. Like there's all this shadow moving around. What's going on? There's emphasis on the scene. But it boggles my mind. I'm baffled. Why 3D for a shot like this? I don't know. Big Sister is the manager there. Okay, I missed that. So the character that I called Dagashia after the Non Non Biori candy store lady is the big sister of this character. Cool. Wait, what's my heart doing? And again, we do this fun play as she trying desperately to avoid any sort of eye contact as this character is trying really hard to reach out. Are you athletic? No, but I'm the last one standing in dodgeball. I see. She just makes it more and more awkward. Remember your daydreams. And remember your first solo show. And again, we're living in that space of the positive dream. Living in it so much almost that the dream becomes so real almost that, well, it's easier to live in dreams than it is to trudge through reality. That's a way to put it. Yeah. And she can't... I'm the girl who sold out the Budokan. She's so focused on this impossible future that she doesn't even realize the possible glory of the present that's right in front of her. And again, the eyes go to the side. Ugh, I'm so weird. And so here we stand, and it's perfect. A descent. The Darklands? Indeed. A descent into the underworld. A staircase downward. A club. A new situation. All these scary people. Lovely color contrast. Great framing. Love the way that they come into frame through here. Love the layout of this place. Feels exactly like the kind of clubs that I've been in. Exactly what I meant before where I was talking underground, dingy, with the stage just barely elevated above everybody else, and not enough space to really play for a large crowd, just a small group. Huh. Looking around and evaluating. There's the PA, and she's hot. What can I say, man? What can I say, man? She's just hot. Woof. Ah! And we meet the other characters. She's exactly what I was hoping that she would be, which is cool, calm, collected, and unexpressive, which makes her a Mio alike. And, well, let's make her another K-On! Connection. One character wants to start a band. I guess really Ritsu starts the band. It doesn't matter. One character wants to get into music and runs into a duo that is already of a gregarious guitarist and a casual, laid-back, not laid-back, traditional, prim, restrained guitarist. Right? Or I guess, is she a bassist or a guitarist? I don't even know. There's some similarities there. Crazy blonde drummer, cool blue or black in the other. Interesting. And immediately she apologizes for everything. I really like this sort of stuff. So we get this little expression from the blonde as she's doing her own thing. These cut-ins of the characters going more chibi, more goofy, more anime-y, more 4-coma-y even, these line up really well. And I like how fluid they're able to make the character designs, from more detailed, as we see in the going to the Budokan and selling out the Budokan sequence, where we get these gradated lines and gradient shadows and careful blush and multifaceted eyes and layers of the hair over and light streaming through and all that stuff, to the norm of the characters, which is simple but expressive, to the most expressive that they can be in all their real character shots, which is that their faces get all warpy and doughy and turn into Lucky Star characters in a way, in order to express heavy emotion effectively. Feel free to call her weird. She likes it. I do not like it. So funny. So funny. Very good. And then the manager did a thing, so we won't meet them. And they walk in step. Tap, tap, tap. Again? No. I think not. No, not CG. You two, you're coming with us. Come on. And that's exactly it. Come on, let's go. And she blushes, and this is our threshold moment. In a lot of shows, we do this explicitly. We put a line on the floor, and the character steps over it into the light, or there's a doorway, and they step through the doorway, and it's a threshold moment. But here, the threshold is imaginary, right? And so we don't need a line on the floor. It's just the willingness to take that first step, and then we can fade out through. And it's not even going through this door, right? That would be the way that we would normally line it up, is that going through the door into the studio is the thing, but that's not the point of decision. The point of decision is right there, where she might go, you know what, actually, guys, I'm overwhelmed by this. I gotta go. Bye. And she's gone. But she steps forward. And so the decision is made. Welcome to the place. Here are the things. We'll be doing instrumentals. The playing's gotta be better, but I can do this. I'm good at guitar. Gorilla. Good little gags all the way through. What can I say about them except that they keep the flow of the episode fun? I love how our focus gets more restricted, and we start to focus on the amps and the elements and the guitars and the bits and pieces and pulling the pick out. It becomes very specific. We've gone from the generalities to the specifics, and we open out. I mean, I understand. I get all these. I've got all these subscribers and all these reactions. I'm gonna do great. I'm really good. And we hard cut through it. End it. Well, we gotta say what's true. You suck. And it's overwhelming wavy lines. Destroyed. Impossible. How could I suck? Self-representation versus interaction. Because you have no idea who you are, and you can't see yourself in a mirror. You can't see yourself in a mirror. You can only see one image of yourself. Very slim pickings. It's better than nothing, but you can't see yourself in a mirror. In a lot of ways, the internet is like a mirror. You can't really see yourself. You need real people. And in a situation like this, you can be really good on your own, but if you can't vibe in time with the fundamental rhythms of interacting with somebody else, with holding and matching eye contact specifically is the one that they bring up in the text in a moment, how are you ever going to play with another person? The same is true of a lot of art forms. Dance, in particular. Playing music with somebody is a dance, in a lot of ways. But dancing with somebody is a real dance. You can be a really good dancer, and you can be absolutely shit at dancing with a partner, because you're really good at expressing yourself. And expressing yourself is not what dancing with a partner is about. Dancing with a partner is figuring out what they're doing and doing what you do in order to alter what they're doing in order to alter what you're doing. You see this in people who dance together. One person starts doing one move, the other person's doing another move, shifts to the other move that the person is doing. The person who was originally doing this starts doing another thing. We trade the dances back and forth in order to figure out what our rhythms are and how we're dancing together. We interplay and play off of each other. And Hitori has no skill at that, and that is a reflection of her lack of skill in social interaction, because speaking with another person is a dance. I'm speaking about this thing, you're speaking about that thing, I'll speak more about what your thing is. Does that work? We'll move and you'll speak about a different thing, and I'll move and I'll speak about that different thing, and then I'll speak about a different thing, and we'll both speak about two different things together. And we'll see if we can dance the dance of social interaction in a way that makes both of us feel fulfilled and not like we're on the outs in this conversation. And Hitori doesn't know how to do that. And so she has to learn. How can I suck? But I have all these subscribers. And we get the explanation. And the explanation is non-diegetic, and that's totally fine. And I love that it works that way. Super important to be in sync. Social anxiety, can't make eye contact, so she's shit at it. Awesome solo player, but worse than a water flea overall in the hierarchy of a band. Rip. I'm the water flea. And we get this great Ashita no Joe style Dazaki frame death. Oh. And she died and never picked up a guitar again. The end. And this is my favorite thing in the entire episode, is the obvious fake out ending. Water flea, Hitori Goto, right? Because it's not actually the things, it's just all the... It's excellent. I like it a lot. Wait. We gotta go do this. It's not your fault. And here we go. None of us are very good. And she's like, I'm very good. And I love this cute interplay between the characters. Again, this is the goofy characterization that makes them feel real. It brings them into the realm of reality, is that they say things that you wouldn't expect. That's exactly right. Just look at me. She can't. Ha 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 ha. She imagines all these awful sequences. It's okay, we'll be there with you, is basically what they're saying. Bloodshed is pretty rock. Besides, it won't be anybody important. And they won't have any clue what good music is anyway. And she's got a justification for every one of them, an argument against every one of them. So just chill. I don't know. The problem is, I know good music from bad. I'm critical of myself, and I don't want to get up there and become a fool, even in my own mind. Yeah, but you know alone from not alone, too, and you don't want to be a fool staying that way forever. But we can't force her, and so they give her some space. She apologizes, and I really like that. And it brings out the truth and the true emotion. And at this point, I will say that I really like the voice actress's performance for Bocchi or Hitori. And I really hope that I don't forget to look it up. But I'm not going to do it right now. And we have a moment of seriousness. I've wanted this forever. I'm so glad that I have the opportunity. I couldn't do it. So I just upload covers to the internet instead. Oh, mostly popular songs. And they both go, whoa, that's cool. Hey, you sound kind of like this person that I follow named Guitar Hero-san. And here we find out that she's actually being listened to by people at her school. And that person who was like, I wonder if there are any guitarists at my school, is the same person. And we see that she's been lying too. Sorry, I can't upload very often nowadays. There's just so much going on at high school. There's nothing. Next time I'll try a song I do all the time with my friends at karaoke. Never. I really like the style here. It's very cute. Awesome. And her little Araragi, Ahoge. I was thinking Ahegao, and that's not right. Her little Ahoge is going. Her idiot hair flips around. Oh, yes, I've seen her, and I've seen her too. Her naming sense is a bit cringy. It is? I follow her with notifications on, a true purist. I'd love to play with her someday. You get this turn. What I'm getting at is, even awesome popular people are out there playing guitar. Lots and lots of them in places we're not even watching. And of course, she doesn't even know what she's saying. She could be an inspiration to you. You should watch her later. And we get the sense that maybe she was an inspiration to these characters. I think you'll get what I mean if you watch her videos. There's something really important there, which is that other people might not see in your self-expression what you think they will see. It might be really useful to find out what other people actually see in your expressions. And that's really cool. She says this line, I always figured real-life people didn't care about me at all, as though there's this separation between internet people and real-life people. But everyone living on the internet is a real-life person too. Some of them actually go outside. Some of them actually have lives and jobs. They're not all hikikomori. And so making connections over the internet means making real connections, even if they're fake real connections. So you have to be kind of careful with what you put out there. And you have to realize that maybe there's value to doing it that you don't perceive or understand. You can't give up on playing in a band just because it didn't work out today. Yes, you can. And lots of people would. It's possible it's our problem anyway. Just trying and trying. Someone this nice has been watching me all this time and actually spoke to me and actually cares about me. And so she dedicates herself to doing it, to making it worthwhile, to proving herself, to not letting it go to waste. Do you want to perform after all? And she starts to shrink back. She knows it all rationally. But fear is a powerful, powerful bastard. And so they offer the opportunity to play from inside a box. Yes, perfect. This is exactly what I want. And they come up with the nickname. I've never had a nickname. Very sad. We come up with this one. And it's like, ooh, that is a rough one. And her eyes light up. Mine! Bocchi! That's me! Ooh, that's me! So cute. So goofy. And our band name is Crap. It's brilliant. And her name is Crap, and none of it matters. What matters is the doing. And this is the equivalent of Tanoshi wa Tanoshidayo. It's a new addition to it. Fun things are fun, and the key is to have fun even if you suck. And that seems to be the key to life. A real, true key to life. You want joy? Have fun being an idiot. Yeah. Yeah. If you get up there and you are too worried about being just right, you're never going to enjoy yourself. So you got to have fun in the journey, in the dum-dums, in the idiocy. We accent the shot with the thick lines around the face. Your feelings really come out in your playing, and so having fun will come through even if you suck. Right. Of course. She doesn't believe it, but she believes it still. Next time. There's a next time? Right. There's always another shot, as long as you choose to take it. They're okay with there being a next time. They don't mind. Kesoku Bando! Tagashiya. And they start to play, and it's rockin'. And also the animation is excellent. The way everything flips around is great. How they fit the guitar inside that box, I don't even know. She's overwhelmed by the situation, and we've got these great little smears in the hand. But it's so much fun. Even if I'm not doing well, she's having fun. And so they play it out. She gets the chance to shine. I've never really shown before today, and I still don't. And it doesn't matter. We come to the end, and she's destroyed and feeling terrible. And they're all insulting each other. This is an amazing scene. And she says a ridiculous thing. I'm gonna do this thing that I've wanted to do. They both go, oh. So yeah. So we'll have a weird party concert, and she bounces. Too much. But now they're zip-tied together. And that's why it's named what it is, right? It's thematic. And for the first time in the episode, as far as I know, Bocchi, as we will now call her, I think, looks up. Not down. Not to the side as somebody looks at her. She looks up at the sky. And the stars beyond. And it's still a barrier. All these strings of electrical wire up above her. But she nods and starts walking. He gets this little bit of a smile, and then reality hits her, and she apologizes and apologizes. Again, apologetic for her own existence. You can't expect somebody to do a 180 in a day. But she's taken the first step, and now it's just on to the next step, and there's no getting out of it now. Those other characters are going to come and drag her. Drag her right out of her shell. And that's perfect. Blam, blam, blam. I really like the ED. I think it's really cute. I love these little screen tones on the edges. I love the color scheme of the whole thing. I'm going to steal frames from the ED in order to build my thumbnail for this show. And I dig it. I just dig it. It's ultra cute. And we get these really cute little micro animations with the little sparkles. Pow, 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 pow. Bam, 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 bam. Little things moving around. Thump, 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 thump. And with their own beats going all in unison. Really excellent expression of the whole thing. And the crowd gets bumping too. And everybody's moving to the music. And together they play. Until next time. Off-kilter, insane, silly, goofy. And a perfect first episode. Introduce a character with a problem she wants to get out of herself, she doesn't know how. Introduce secondary characters with a solution. Girl, you coming with us, because we need a band. Introduce band life and the experience. Show what reluctance does in the face of that. Demonstrate the character's difficulty with overcoming herself. And then show the joy of overcoming. And move into a new world where she can actually have friends. And begin to grow in many, many different ways. I really like the first episode. I think it's really cute. I expect that it will only stay good as we move through, given how much people are enjoying this show or claiming to. And that makes me very excited for watching more Bocchi. I want to know who the voice actor for the main character is. Yoshino Aoyama. Here, hold on. Yoshino Aoyama. Sorted by favorites. Bocchi the Rock. Somebody in Wake Up Girls. Somebody in a show that I really hated. A couple people. I think Mark was I don't even remember. I think Mark was a douchebag in this. I don't remember. I don't remember Fio. Oh, that's the lady of the fairies in Isekai Shokudo. A side character in Araburu. But overall, this seems like, other than the Wake Up Girls, this seems like a real breakout role for this. Oh my god, she was born in 1996. She's so young. I guess 26 isn't that young. Cool. Sayumi Suzushiro. Oh, she's Kurena. Kei Shirogane and Kaguya-sama, main character and high score girl, and then Bocchi the Rock. Bokutachi wa Benkyo, somebody in Railgun, various people and other things. Cool! What about blue? Saku Mizuno. Very little. Cool. And red, who we haven't heard much of, but gonna check anyway. Oh, I clicked on the character instead of the... Ikumi Hasegawa. Oh, also, she's Vladilena! Oh, because it's an A1 Pictures production is 86, and this is a Cloverworks production. There's overlap. I see. Did Shota Umehara produce that as well? And what has Keiichiro Saito worked on? Shota Umehara... Start date? No. Score. Bocchi the Rock, Yakusoku, Nisei Monogatari, production manager, Bisque Doll, Fate Grand Order, Yuri, another, Frank's production manager assistant for certain episodes, Manga Sensei, Wonder Egg Priority. Okay, cool. And Keiichiro Saito, sorted by score. Bocchi, is this a directorial debut? Key animation, storyboard, key animation. Looks like it. Okay, well that is exceptional then. If this is actually a directorial debut for Keiichiro Saito, then that's exceptional. Because this is a very solid episode 1 of what seems to be a solid adaptation slash build out on a 4-koma, and that's not easy to accomplish. And the framing and composition has been overall great. That might be the episode director's work, but given that people keep saying like the show continues on to be very good, I get the feeling like it's Saito's work. Very cool. I love that. I love seeing new directors come onto the scene and smash it, and that seems to be going on here. Look, the character's relatable. The other characters are lovely. The color is nice. The storytelling was solid all the way through. There are hints of glory in music, and those hints of the dream of being at the stage at Budokan or selling out the Zepp or whatever, those hints are real teasers for what is potentially to come, as with the potential for the redhead character to join in and find another character and bring them into the thing, and maybe that will be the way that Hitori ends up making a friend at her school herself, is by talking to that character and stepping outside of herself. Regardless of what happens in the future, I liked this episode, and I'm excited to step into the next one. But we're going to have to wait until next week for that. So, if you enjoyed this reaction and discussion, drop a comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel, support the channel on Patreon if you are so inclined. I would be deeply grateful if you would. It's the only way that I make money and survive. Thank you so much for observing this fun piece of art about producing art despite the difficulties of putting yourself out there when you produce art. With me, a person who produces art about art by talking about art and pointing at it and saying, that was pretty cool. Let's talk about why I think it was pretty cool. I can't wait to hear why all of you think it was pretty cool and how you differ in your opinions than from what I see. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next week for another episode of Bocchi the Rock. Peace.